Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How you doing? It's Rusty from
You gotta hit the picky, 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 picky. Hit the proper porky pig.
Sound like Dave Allen. It's Rusty from Biggest Mouth in Sport. Today I'm joined by Terry. How you doing, Terry?
I'm right, man. How are you, man? How was your time with the Cobra?
All right, yeah. All right, had a few hours there. Yeah, enjoyed it. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Haters must be spitting feathers, mate. Because you know how many times did they say, mate, does he really know Carl Froch? Is he really Carl's mate?
Well, what can you do?
That's one thing people don't really know about you, Russ. That you're not a liar. Like,
So
you'll do some crazy stuff, some mad stuff, but you're not a liar.
well, they'll all be in for a shock one day. And they get him on channel, but not yet.
Mate.
People abusing me, asking me why you aren't on Peter Fury on channel. Peter Fury's been on my channel many times in camp at Congleton, in Bolton, Bulgaria.
Yeah, but he's just not a guy to do a lot of talking.
No, and you know what? I'm not one of them people that just goes and puts it on him all the time for interviews. Because I'm out that way. I mean, it's a long way to go. But we do have Zoom and that, but he's always up to eyes in it, isn't he? But, I still speak to him every single day or text, so I don't need to prove anything to any of these gimps on here who I knock about with or who I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's by the by, innit? You're not even allowed to say out to anybody without people questioning you. If I could just show you some emails I get here, there's some sick people out there, Terry.
It's mad, isn't it? I never. When do you find time to be that sad? I never get it, Russ. Like, someone has to sit there and write these emails, and you know when they finish the email and they hit send, and they go, "Yeah, I really told him." Look at me. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird.
Listen, mate. Social media, if you put your sin out there, you've got to be prepared to take it on chin. And I'm thick skinned now. I weren't at first, but
yeah. I learned that the hard way. You just have to have ways of, number one, you got to keep your footprint really small. So you don't want people showing up at your work and stuff like that. You just got to keep a really small footprint, and you go from there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, Terry, this week. The main thing is, what do you think about Fury's Instagram video he did?
Oh, he's done loads, mate. Which one?
All of them.
The best one, actually, to give him his due, the best one was when he got that impressionist guy. And he did all the various impressions. So that Joe Pesci basically telling Joshua to sign the contract. Robert De Niro telling Joshua to sign the contract. I don't know what the kid's name is, but he's quite good and he's quite funny. So I think that bit of it's funny, but that tells me that the fight's not going to happen. You know when there's that kind of pantomime, Russ? That tells me the fight's not going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen anyway because they're not active enough to be having fights this soon after the previous fights, them two, are they? They need breaks in between. Tyson, he's not like a 2 fights a year man, is he, Tyson?
But his body will be fine. I think both of them could fight. I just don't think they're going to fight right now, Russ. And you and I have talked about it before. My suspicion is the same man controls both guys, and he's just looking for the biggest payday he can get this year. And if it's Usyk, if the Usyk fight can be made, and I have a feeling that the Usyk fight can be made for the end of this year, I think that's where a lot of the discussions will be happening right now. I think this Joshua thing is just to remind Usyk that there are options. He doesn't hold all the cards right now.
Yeah. Do you think this is a bit, not bullying from Fury, but do you think it's like taking advantage of the situation because Joshua's at a low ebb?
So I think there's part of that, but I think Joshua took advantage when Fury was at a low ebb too.
I can see that. Yeah, Tyson's going to think, well, you were offering it me when I want right.
Yeah, get fit, you fat beep. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but do you think it's more of a tit for tat and a point scoring exercise from both of them and both of the promoters, rather than everybody just getting around the table and just make the fight?
What did we say before? They already have an agreement from supposedly, was it last year or the year before? Remember when they agreed to do it? And Tyson Fury was like, yeah, we got the deal over the line. Where have those contracts gone? Because all you have to do is basically flip the split around, right? So where have those contracts gone?
I don't know. Why don't they just change the dates on them?
Yeah. So that's why I'm convinced this isn't going to happen. I don't see it happening. I just, yeah, the energy doesn't seem right. This is a fight that should have been done. Do you remember 4 years ago? Wilder signed, Fury signed, the fight was on, it was done.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah. So we know how they generally do business. This isn't how they do business. Do you know what I mean? Like things get done quickly, especially when Bob Arum's involved. You get things in quickly, lock in, and then you can go around touting for money.
When Dennis used to be making fights, I used to say to him, why don't you go for a rematch for that fight? And he used to say, you know, with that rematch thing, sometimes you can show yourself as being weak when you're asking for a rematch. And he said, and also, the fans will decide if there should be a rematch, if it's a good enough fight. Ward Gatty never had rematches in their fights, did they? They still did the rematches, though, didn't they, in a trilogy?
Yeah.
So why do we have to have all these locked in rematches with Eddie Hearn, and every fight Joshua has, there has to be a rematch clause? Why? I don't get that. And then Dennis asked for a rematch with Anna Rankin and Terry Harper. Is it next week or week after? The match, and we're like, no, we're not doing going to be a rematch. There'll be one if we want there to be one. Well, fans should decide, shouldn't they? Because what's good for Goose is good for Gander, isn't it? Dennis is taking his champion, Anna Rankin, on a matchroom show. So why can't there be a rematch? Why?
But remember, the aim of the rematch is to guarantee revenue, right? So if I know, like take Ruiz, for example. So Ruiz won, let's just say that grossed $60 million. I know the rematch is going to get close to that or slightly above that, right? So I already know, based on that contract, I'm good for 120 million gross, guaranteed. So that's what they do. They just take the risk out promoting. And it's almost that extreme version of boxing becoming a business. I'm not happy about it. I think we should still focus on the sporting side.
You've put a picture of Frotch up there in that video where he's putting it on you earlier the other day, haven't you?
Hey, go on.
It comes up really small on the screen. So yeah, you've put at least you have put one up next to him in Ward. You're his mate now, aren't you, Terry? Now he's threatened you. Now the Cobra's put it on you. You've took Ward off your picture. You've palled him up. You've been going around for a couple of necks.
Mate, that's the way forward, man, you know.
No. I even knocked back a sandwich off his missus, eh?
Hey, long late. You know, as they always say, man, never let your idols be your rivals.
I cheered you up anyway.
That video is hilarious. Yo, when you sent that to me, I didn't know what was coming. I was like, okay, Frost is on some smoke, is he?
On some smoke.
I might have to go to Alta. I'm gonna do a tie and booth and just sit in Alta, just sipping a water.
Okay then. So we spoke about Fury taking advantage of Joshua, but that was done by Joshua trying to take advantage of Fury when he came back. So it's a bit tit for tat. But why can't we just get Eddie in a room where they were going to meet at Fredericks in Islington, the Italian, weren't they? Why don't you just go there and meet Frank Warren? Just them two. We don't need anybody else there. And just say, right, you're going to make this fight. They've made 9 fights in 12 years. And that's poor, that is poor. And the fans are suffering here. It's becoming about Warren and Hearn now instead of the fans and the fighters, isn't it? Do you think?
Yeah, and I don't like Hearn always saying things like the fighter's the boss. I just do what they tell me and all this sort of stuff that he says in interviews because it's not true.
No. It's not true, man. No, it isn't. No.
This is a fight that should just be made. I'd love for forget Eddie for a second. I'd love for Bob Arum and Barry Hearn to get on the phone and go, it's going to happen on December 17th. Come hell or high water, this is when we're going to make this fight happen. I just don't believe any of them have an interest in making it happen right now. So I think you'll see them fight 2 different people by the end of the year.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward. I just think it's a great fight, but you know, the more I look at it, Terry, the more I think that 2017 April, they flew Wilder over, they paid him money, first class. You're a pundit for Vladimir against Joshua Wilder. Yes, you've got the winner. Yes. Everybody were on the same page. It were exciting. Joshua and Wilder were undefeated then, weren't they?
Yeah.
And now look, we're further away from undisputed than we've ever been now.
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone's just trying to cash out at the moment.
Yeah, they're all trying to cash out at the same time. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But I just think it's bad taste that we've got all these so-called experts. We've got world championship gold medalists and lineal world champions and all their entourages and all these promoters and strength and conditioning men, all this money around, and they can't get them in the ring. They can't because their egos are that big, and somebody's going to have to take a loss or a bit less money than the other one. And look, it's a mess, isn't it?
And you know the deeper thing is, can you imagine we got Ben Eubank this year and Joshua Fury?
We've got what?
Imagine we got Ben Eubank this year and we got Joshua Fury this year.
Well, we haven't got Joshua Fury as such, have we? We've got Ben Eubank.
No, if we got it, no, Russ. If we
got it, yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it?
Then that kind of just be British boxing done. Like, there's nothing else to get excited about.
There isn't. There's the only rematches.
Yeah, so they're going to drag this out because they're like, look, if Fury and Joshua fight this year, what the hell are we going to do next year?
Well, no, can't go. We want Joshua Fury 2 and Ben Eubank 2. And on and on and on it goes, doesn't it? And it's just rematch for them, isn't it? And same old hogwash, but repeating it.
Yeah. And so they're just going to keep yanking the fans' chains. And I keep saying it, the only way the fans can make a difference is by just not engaging in all of it. Don't like these Fury videos. Don't retweet them. Don't comment on them. Ignore him. Ignore Joshua. Ignore Eddie. And that will force them to the table. But as long as you keep letting them know they can get away with taking you for idiots as boxing fans, they'll keep taking you for idiots.
What do you think the solution is then? Just people not buy the pay-per-views, Terry?
Yeah, of course. That's the only way you hurt people. You hurt businesses by not spending money. There's nothing else you can do.
I just think it's in bad form that everything just seems to take forever to. We seem to be waiting on like a big fight every 3 or 4 years, don't we?
Yeah, and they know that. And they'll drag it out. They know how long to drag these things out for. Now, the problem they've had with Joshua is it turns out he's not as good as they thought he was.
Yeah.
And he couldn't keep up his end of the bargain. Fury has.
Yeah. Do you feel that Fury don't really care anymore about who he fights?
Oh, no, he cares. He's too steeped in boxing. He knows too much about boxing not to care.
About his opponent, isn't he?
Yeah, he understands. He wants to. If you think about Tyson Fury, he wants to stand at Canastota at the Hall of Fame, and he wants to know that he can stand next to Lennox Lewis, and no one would even question why he'd do that.
He can't. He's miles off that. Yeah, he's miles off that.
Not miles, but he's not in the middle.
4 or 5 fights off that. Yeah, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not in the middle of the photo. Lennox is in the middle. Evander's next to him. Maybe someone like a Riddick is on the other side of him. And then you'll have guys like Ray Mercer, real hard men who really put it down. Ray Mercer, George Foreman. And then on the edges of that photo, you'll get guys like Wilder, Joshua, Vladimir. The guys who were okay, but they didn't show that real warrior heart like a Ray Mercer did.
What are you putting Ray Mercer above Vladimir?
In terms of that, in a room full of men, if it kicked off, do I think Ray Mercer does more damage than Vladimir? 100%.
Ray Mercer's ex-commando, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's going to have big balls, isn't he?
Yeah. And you know what a room full of men's like. You can talk about belts and stuff, but it is really about who are the big dogs in the yard.
I thought you were going to say something else. Yeah, I suppose he is a tough guy, Ray Mercer. Didn't he go into an MMA fight and win one of them as well?
I think so, yeah.
He uppercutted the guy, didn't he?
Yeah, to hell and back, yeah.
For 4 ounce knuckle gloves or something on the fingerless.
Yeah,
Yeah, he gave Lennox the torrid time as well, didn't he?
yeah.
Tommy
Just a
Morrison.
hard man. You know, the sort of guy that you just don't see a lot of in boxing anymore. Just a hard man.
Mm. Yeah. Where do you put Lennox as regards Lennox and Ali?
Ali's light years ahead.
Yeah.
No one's been able to replicate Ali's style. That's the biggest compliment you can give him. We're 40 odd years past his prime, and no one's been able to replicate that for a heavyweight. Not come close.
Mm. Do you think Ali, some of his training methods made him stand out from other people? Because I watched a program about some of his training methods, and he ran in 2 kilo boots, didn't he? You know, like pit boots. He went jogging in them, didn't he? Because they're like weighted, aren't they? Like heavy, aren't they? And he ran.
But then
he did sprints, didn't he, backwards and stuff like that.
Then there's knock-on effects around sort of like your ankles and.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought that'd be good, would you? Like that? Would you running in pit boots?
No, I don't think it was. You know, that's one good thing about technology. Technology makes it easier for you to perform.
Yeah. But like I said, he did all that running backwards stuff and all that, didn't he? Which were different at the time, wasn't it?
Takes 20% more energy to run backwards than it does to run forwards.
You think Ali were a bit ahead of his time when he started?
Well, no one's been able to do what he did, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But they reckon that Jack Dempsey were ahead of his time, don't they? When he started, and people soon caught him, didn't they?
Yeah, but they also say you're ahead of your time, Porky.
Well, I was first one to start doing what I'm doing on my sort of concept on boxing, wasn't it, on YouTube? And there's obviously a few people have followed, haven't they? But I like
the first guy to record lying on his bed.
Well, I just think when I've been up early and out with my dog, and then I've been to the office, and then I just think if I can come back in the afternoon and just chill out in here, telling on, I've got everything I need in here, and I'm happy up here. If I go downstairs, it's usually, get out of the way, Dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give me the remote. No, we're watching this. We're telling you what's on. Do you know what I mean? But okay then. You see, I look at the situation now with Tyson, and I just think I see Sunday, right? And this is my opinion. I think Tyson's enjoying himself and having a good time. It looks like he's put weight on. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but he don't look to me like he's training every day. Trust me. He can put a stone on in 3 days, him. So it's very easy for him to put weight on if he ain't training every day. But he don't look to me like he's training every day. He might be doing something, walking to a pub or something, but I just think he's just being himself and just winding them up, because don't forget, they gave him a torrid time, when he beat Vladimir. They took one of his belts off him, and he had it coming from him from all directions. So if he's giving it back to them, I'm glad. I mean, Eddie looks to me like he doesn't know what to do with Tyson, doesn't he?
And it also looks like the zone have said, listen, if there's a chance of this fight happening, you don't mess it up. It's like someone sent him the memo. So Eddie's trying to be on his best behavior.
Yeah. It's all a bit balmy, isn't it, what's gone on? We've got all these big hitters that can't make fights. There's more talking going on than fighting, Terry.
Yeah, and they think it builds anticipation for the fight, but I don't think it does. You could announce Fury and Joshua fighting next week, and the same number of people will watch it as if it was happening in January. We just need the date. We don't need a build-up. We just need the date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit fucking mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
What do you think is going to happen to Joyce and Parker? Because winner of that's going to be mandatory for Usyk, and then we've got Daniel DeBar. Winner of Huey and Hunter fights DeBar. Winner of that's mandatory then for WBA. So Frank's going to have 2 in position, and if Fury goes with Usyk, he's going to have 3 fighters all having a go at Usyk. If it's not Tyson, it'll be other 2, won't it? DeBar or Joyce or whoever, because he'll have options on Parker if he beats Joyce, won't he, Frank?
let's give Frank credit, right? Because he's done this quietly.
Yeah, he has done it very quietly. And Eddie's not made no mention of it. He's been that engulfed in doing that many interviews and getting his son out there. He's forgot about what his job is. Eddie Hearn's job is to be a boxing promoter and keep his eye on these things. Now, I've noticed that Warren's been doing that in a few positions because he's gone back to what he used to be good at. I think he'd neglected all that for a long time, but I think he realised, listen, we've got to start again here, and we've got to go at it. And then in 2-3 years, we'll be in a good position. Next year, he's going to reap the rewards. And I think you mentioned this a couple of years ago, didn't you, Terry? 2023 will be the year of the brick top.
Yeah. Yeah, he just moved quietly. He realized he couldn't beat Eddie Hearn like during the pandemic. He wasn't going to do anything. So he just maneuvered. That's what he did. He maneuvered all of his pieces. And now he's like, I'm going to have heavyweight title fights for at least the next 2.5 years.
He's in a very, very, very good spot. Very, very good spot.
And he's building alliances as well, which is good. He's got the alliance with Bob. He's building the alliance with Lou DiBella. So it's like all of boxing is just circling around Hearn.
Lou DiBella working with Frank, I'd be choking with that old Lou. But he'd rather work with Frank than Eddie Hills.
Yeah, because remember, DiBella's still trying to get in what do you call it, DAZN. He wants his own kind of budget on DAZN.
Why not give Lou DiBella some slots in America? Because Eddie can't do no out there, can he?
Yeah, and Lou DiBella's proven he's done it before.
I mean, that's it, 22 years, Lou, promoting. Before that, he worked for HBO, didn't he, for about 8 years?
Yeah.
7 years, something. The heavyweight division, right? What do you see happening with Ergovic and Zhang and people like that? What do you think is lined up for them, Terry?
Joshua.
Lined up for both?
I think Joshua fight one of those two, then the other.
You think Joshua fights Joseph Parker in New Zealand?
No.
Oh, but that mentioned as a possible fight, doing a rematch with Parker. I just wonder if it would be in a world tour if Eddie would take it to New Zealand, that's all.
No. So what's New Zealand's population? 5 million?
I don't know, but it's a bigger country than England, isn't it, in size?
Not by much, though, I don't think.
There's nobody in it, though, is there? It's a small, not many people there, is there?
Yeah, so it's not a big market. North Australia, they're not big boxing markets.
Australia is a bigger country than England, and they haven't got as many people there, have they?
Yeah.
Big and empty.
But most of it's uninhabitable.
Well, yeah, unless you want to live like in middle of deserts and with crocodiles, which I don't mind crocodiles. I think they're quite interesting creatures. Okay, Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields fight tomorrow, Terry. If it's going ahead, I think it is, isn't it?
So the Premier League's off. The rugby league is on. I don't know what the rugby union's doing. So obviously we're talking on Friday afternoon. It could all change. But if you were running a boxing show, you'd run it tomorrow because you're going to have enough eyes on you. Like you've got to let it run. And I know there are people who have different views on this. Some people say, look, we need a mark of respect. And I agree with that. But that will be the day of the funeral, I think. Because you don't want the symbolism to happen twice in the space of 7 or 8 days. So I think we everyone clears their calendar on the Sunday for the funeral, and then today that we run the sport as a tribute to the Queen would be my take on it.
Yeah. So what would you do if you were Robert Smith? Just have the fights this Saturday?
Yeah, I'd have the fights.
Fighters have done 2-month camp and all that. It's not fair on them, is it?
It's not fair on the public.
Yeah, so you think they'll just nip it all in bud after Sunday?
Yeah, so whatever day the Queen's funeral is, I understand things being postponed then. That makes sense.
Yeah. What do you think about all these people putting... Thing is that there's one here from IFL. We are deeply saddened by the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. You think it's all getting a bit... people doing it for brownie points and because it's a trending story and all that, and because everybody else was doing it? I don't know. Everybody seems to jump on bandwagon mill like this, don't they?
When it, Russ, where there's an opportunity, there's a grift, right? So people are just going to grift. They'll see that the Queen's trending, and they'll just get in on it. And I don't even know what it is. It's almost just they don't want to feel left behind or left out.
Well, I'm not going to be saying that, putting out about it. They're not paying my bills. I mean, from what they've just paid 12 million to somebody, so it all shushed, didn't it? So he didn't have to go to court. The son.
Yeah, but I always say that's a tricky one, Russ, right?
Yeah.
Because you got 2 kids now, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing you wouldn't do for your kids.
Yeah, but if my lad had got involved in something like that, I'd make him face it. Like my old man used to say to me, "There's got to go down there, and there's got to go face what that's done. If that's nicked it, Russ, or there's hit him, there's got to go face it." And there's some accountability for when you're a parent for your children.
This is where the line's blurred, right? Because how many times have you been in situations and you hear a mum go, "I'd do anything for my son," or even hiding from the police? Yeah, 100%. And we know people have done that before. Yeah. There was a lady in London, Russ. She's been jailed now, but a group of lads knocked on her door looking for her son. And when her lad came back, she's like, "Listen, we're going to go and get him." She drove the kids. She might have even given the kid the knife. He said, "Right, go get him now." Drove him home. There's something about a mother-son relationship that's a bit irrational. Don't know what it is. There's something that's a bit irrational. Like I say personally, I don't want taxpayers' money going on that. But I'm almost like, well, what's the Queen supposed to do? If she had let him rot, essentially, then I mean, her whole image changes, right? Like she's a cold, ruthless mum. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't in the age of social media, Russ. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I suppose that girl who was saying she weren't going to take any money, she was going to go all the way in about money. When it come down to it, she's cried off and not gone in dock, has she?
Yeah.
So maybe he did meet her, maybe he didn't. I don't know, but she's obviously well off now, isn't she? She's got her son in a good position. Well, like I said, you can go on forever about it like that, can't we? We could argue it till cows come home.
But one thing we should say though is this: we live in a country where people talk about things like grassing and things like keeping your own counsel and not being too showy and not being too flash. And I sometimes pause and think of the stuff the Queen knows, all the dark, dingy stuff the Queen actually knows. Never folded under interrogation, never folded under pressure. Meanwhile, you've got these pretend tough guys. I mean, a little bit of pressure. I mean, attractive woman in their bed and all that pillow talk starts and they just start grassing and just snitching on themselves. I mean, a lot of people could learn about this idea of some things you just take to the grave.
Yeah, like Jimmy Savile took all this to the grave, didn't he?
Yeah, remember, he could imagine he had snitched on everyone.
I know. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? It's what we don't know, Terry, isn't it?
I've always said a lot of these criminals that people are scared of are child sex offenders. A lot of them. A lot of these people you hear about, they're involved in the child sex trade, and that's how they get turned.
Yeah. All right then. Let's talk about Danishes. He's your mate, isn't he? He's doing well, isn't he? Undefeated.
Yeah.
He's on do you remember Martin always used to go on about him, didn't he? Martin off No Age.
Did he?
Martin always used to go on about him. Did he want to with Steve Goodwin at one point?
No, he's always been MTK.
Oh, who was that guy who Martin always used to go on about? Oh no, Linus. I get him mixed up. Linus, innit? Linus Adolphia.
Yeah.
What's happened to him, Linus? What's he on with?
He's sparring Conor Benn.
Is he?
Yeah, so he's in camp with Conor Benn, getting him ready for Eubank Jr. If you were to say to me who would he fight next, I imagine he fights someone like a Danny Dignam.
Is he good mates with Martin, that Linus, then, yeah?
Yeah, we're all mates. We're all mates. Like, it's been a long journey. Got a lot of time for Linus. It was tough when he fought Denzel, because obviously I'm close to Denzel as well.
That's it, Denzel Bentley.
Yeah.
How's Martin doing with corner license. He got a seconds license, and he always
I don't know if he's renewed it. Don't think. Yeah, I think it was that one and done. But yeah, like Martin did say that if Chris Smedley can be a trainer, I'm sure he could be a seconds.
You'll get me in trouble again, yours, Terry. Chris is a good trainer. Just that when I said that to him, he went, "You fucking what?" So Chris said, "I couldn't get it, but I can get one." I didn't mean anything by it. Sometimes I just start.
Mate, the voice notes you and him exchanged, like if I've got those anyway, like, they were brilliant.
Well, fuck. Yeah, we were both raging that day.
Yeah. I don't think I've heard you be. I've only ever heard you that angry when I told you I spoke to Peter Fury and you went mad.
Yeah.
I
You
just
were
remember
winding me up, weren't you? You were winding me up.
Okay, what did I say to you? I said, Russ, just saw Peter Fury. Said hello to him. He said he'll be seeing you real soon.
Yeah, you
And I
did
left
see
it
me
there,
for putting
right?
him in helmets.
And I remember, you know, this is the crazy thing. So I said that to you. And then I was just talking, right? So I was talking to someone for about 20 minutes. And then I saw you left me 3 voice notes. And they got angrier.
Next door, my dog's attacking postman for going next door.
Yeah.
Shut up! We're not filming. Meaning dog. Barking at postman. I don't know. Right. You were talking there about
Dan Aziz.
Dan Aziz. Where do you see him going now then, Dan Aziz? Because he's on a bit of a run, isn't he? And people don't seem to be putting him in. They don't seem to be putting him in that world bracket, Terry, do they?
So this was the issue I have, right? If you look at Dan, you're beating guys like Charles Adamu and a few kind of journeymen. Yeah. You beat Charlie Duffield for your southern area, right? Mm-hmm. So that's not a gift. You weren't gifted the southern area. You had to earn it. You then fight Lawrence Osueke, Andre Sterling, and Ricky Summers at English level, which you can't. That's a good English title run, right? Because they're good prospects. And at British level, he's beaten Hosea Burton. He had Reece Cart, right? And he's had Shakan Pitters at British level. And they've all been comfortable fights for him. Like, these aren't hard. He hasn't had to go to war yet.
Yeah.
So you look at him and go, well, okay, you've got to put him in the same breath now as Boatsy and Spider Richards. Like, that's the level you got to put him at now and say he should fight one of those 2 guys or Lyndon Arthur. Yeah. Is where I'd put him right now.
Lyndon Arthur and Dan Aziz is a good fight for both of them. If Lyndon Arthur loses that, I don't know where he goes. If Dan Aziz wins that, I don't know if it does as much for him if Lyndon beats Dan. I think it's more of a fight for Lyndon, that fight, than Dan, isn't it?
Yeah, because Dan's looking up. So for me, I'd happily put Dan in with Rocky Fielding.
Rocky Fielding's spent, but he's a name, isn't he? Former champion.
He's a name and he's got the ranking. So
got all the lot, hasn't he? British Commonwealth all the way up, hasn't he? Prize fighter and lot.
Yeah. So I think that'll be a good fight for Dan. I still think if Boatsy pulls out the Pascal fight, put Dan Aziz on there.
And if he loses to Boatsy, he can come again. But if he beats Boatsy, he gets the world title, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So he's in a good position, Dan Aziz, now, isn't he?
Yeah. And all this just by being consistent. Like, they've been trying to take their belt. They've been trying to take all his belts off him his whole career. But what people don't realize with Dan, just bricks for fists.
Yeah.
And what I was talking to him about was he's got to learn from Beterbiev, because obviously he was in camp with Kovalev and Beterbiev earlier this year. So he did a lot of the sparring for the Joe Smith fight, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I was saying to him that what I like about Beterbiev is he just pecks away at you. People talk about Beterbiev's power and how he knocks people out, but what he actually does is he just pecks away at you. Not 100% power, but maybe 60 to 70% power.
Brings that power late on, doesn't he?
Well, he surprises you. Like, I always call it, different textures of punches. So some of them you think are going to be hard and they're soft, and some of them you think are going to be soft and they're hard. And what that does is it just scrambles your mind. You're like, I don't know what's coming. And it just breaks you mentally. You saw that with when he fought Marcus Brown.
Hey, listen, people were tipping Marcus Brown to write him off, weren't they, and run through him.
Yeah, Marcus Brown looked. There was a point where he looked like the most dangerous light heavyweight
out there. Yeah. And he never he never batted an eyelid when they put that fight to him, B to B. He just said, "Yeah, all right."
Yeah, remember he had the cut. Like he got the same cut that Badu Jack was.
Right,
Yeah,
right, bad, wasn't it? Yeah, exactly the same as Battle Jacks. It's same position.
yeah.
I'm going to change over onto next link, Terry. Want to join us on part 2?